Hello and welcome to BYJU'S IAS. Welcome to our daily quiz. Let's look at question number 1. Which of the following statement or statements is or are correct regarding Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs? Number 1, its function is to consider proposals to summon or prorogue the Houses of Parliament. Statement number 2, its function is to scrutinize and to consider the attitude of the government on non-official bills and resolutions to be presented to Parliament. Statement number 3, it is headed by the Union Home Minister. When we look at who has the power to summon or prorogue the Houses of the Parliament, this power is with the President of India. But President cannot act on his own. The President has to act on the advice of Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. And basically this proposal is discussed by Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs. So statement number 1 is correct. Based on this consideration by Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs, ultimately advice is sent to the President that please summon the Houses of the Parliament or please prorogue the Houses of the Parliament. Statement number 2. Let's say, for example, there are non-government bills or what we call private members bills or private members resolutions. What is going to be the attitude of the government regarding these non-official bills or resolutions? That is also scrutinized and considered by this Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs. So this statement is also correct, but it is not headed by the Union Home Minister. It is headed by the Union Defense Minister. So statement 3 is incorrect. B, only 1 and 2 is the right answer. What is the context? This is today's Business Standard newspaper. Business Standard newspaper says the Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs has recommended that the budget session of the Parliament commence on January 29. And you know, the first day of the first session of a year, the President of India addresses the joint sitting of the two houses of the Indian Parliament. And then on February 1, the Union budget will be presented before the Lok Sabha. That's statement number 1. That's question number 1. Let's look at question number 2. And question number 2 we have taken from Prelims 2020 so that you have an idea how questions are framed by Union Public Service Commission. Consider the following statements. Number 1. The President of India can summon a session of the Parliament at such a place as he or she thinks fit. This statement is correct. Statement number 2. The Constitution of India provides for 3 sessions of the Parliament in a year, but it is not mandatory to conduct all the 3 sessions. No. Why? Yes, normally we have 3 sessions of the Parliament. Budget session, monsoon session, winter session. We may also have a joint sitting. We may also have a special session of Indian Parliament. But Constitution does not talk about these sessions. There is only one requirement, that the time gap between the one sitting and the second sitting should not be more than 6 months. That means if Parliament is meeting today, next time it must meet in such a manner that the time between the first sitting and the second sitting should not be more than 6 months. That means Indian Parliament must meet twice a year. So this statement is wrong. Statement number 3, there is no minimum number of days that the Parliament is required to meet in a year. This statement is also correct. That means although Constitution mandates that Parliament must meet at least twice a year, but the minimum number of days that Parliament is required to meet in a year, that is not specified. So which of these statements are correct? 1 and 3, C, is the right answer. Let's look at question number 3. Which of the following statement is incorrect? Number 1, the architecture of the present Parliament House resembles a Katarso Mahadeva temple of Madhya Pradesh. Let's look at this temple. This temple is also known as Chausat Yogini temple, and this is the temple in Madhya Pradesh. This is one of the few well preserved Yogini temples in India. And the current Parliament of India resembles this Chaussat Yogini temple, which means the architecture of the present Parliament House of India resembles this temple of Madhya Pradesh. Statement number two, Herbert Baker was one of the chief architects who spearheaded the building of modern Delhi. Yes, it was Herbert Baker as well as Edwin Lutyens who spearheaded the building of modern India by constructing the Parliament House, Rashtrapati Bhavan, North and South blocks, Rajpath, India Gate, so on and so forth. So this statement is also correct. Statement number C, Delhi was restructured and modernized after Britain's King George V had announced the transfer of the seat of Government of India from Calcutta to the ancient capital of Delhi. The year was 1911. It was in this year that Delhi Darbar was conducted. It was in this year that coronation of King George V took place. He was coronated as the Emperor of India, Emperor of Hindustan. And it was in this year that partition of Bengal was also annulled. And it was in this year that the capital was shifted from Calcutta to Delhi. So this statement is also correct. But what is the question asking? Which of the following statement is incorrect? D. None of these statements are incorrect. What is the context? The Supreme Court has finally cleared the Government of India's plan to build a 3 times bigger parliament. And that is what is called Central Vista Project. Now let's look at question number 4. Which of the following statement is or are correct regarding Nile River? It is the longest river in the world. That's correct. It rises south of the equator and drains into the Mediterranean Sea. Correct. Its 3 main tributaries are White Nile, the Blue Nile, and the Atbara. This is also correct. The Greek historian Herodotus visited Libya, Syria, but skipped River Nile. No, he does mention about River Nile in his writings, means he visited a portion of River Nile. So this statement is incorrect. So 1, 2, 3, B is the correct answer. What is the context? The context is this newspaper article in today's Indian Express. There is a dispute because of the Grand Renaissance Dam, which is spearheaded by Ethiopia. And on this dam, there is a dispute between Ethiopia and primarily Egypt. So that is why a question on River Nile may be asked in your examination. Now let's look at question number 5. Consider the following statements and select the correct options regarding India-UK relationship. Number 1, the bilateral trade has remained in favor of India. Correct. That means India is exporting more to UK than UK is exporting to India. In the year 2005, the Joint Economic and Trade Committee, JETCO, was inaugurated in New Delhi. And what was the objective? The objective was let's boost two-way bilateral investments. This statement is also correct. So C, both is the right answer. What is the context? The Prime Minister of Britain was invited to grace the Republic Day parade on 26 January 2021. But now, Mr. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of Britain, has cancelled this visit to India because of the COVID-19 pandemic in UK. A new strain which has emerged in UK. Because of that, the Prime Minister of Britain has cancelled visit to India. And it becomes important to understand India-UK relationship considering the fact that Mr. Boris Johnson was invited to Republic Day parade. Let's look at the fact of the day, Union Budget. Constitution does not refer to this word, budget, anywhere. This budget is referred to as Annual Financial Statement under Article 112 of the Constitution. This budget is presented on February 1 every year. Few important facts. There are few documents that are presented before the Parliament along with the budget. One such is Macroeconomic Framework Statement, and this is the question that was asked in your Prelims 2020 as well. Which is the other statement that is presented before the Parliament along with the budget? That is Medium Term Fiscal Policy cum Fiscal Policy Strategy Statement. There is another important document called Economic Survey. but this is presented few days before the budget, not along with the budget. Few more facts. There was a time when railway and union budget were presented separately. That was till 2017, after which both the railway budget and the union budget were merged into a single presentation. If you look at this word budget, it is derived from a French word bouge, which means a leather bag or leather pouch. And it was in this leather bag or leather pouch that financial papers were presented by the finance minister. If you look at the Chancellor of Exchequer in Britain, who is the finance minister of Britain, he would carry the leather bag in which the proposals or the financial proposals were placed. And that was the convention that our finance ministers would also follow. That means our finance ministers would also carry this budget proposal or these documents in a leather bag. But the year 2019, the finance minister Nirmala Sitharaman, she ditched the traditional budget briefcase and instead she chose a red packet with the national emblem wrapped with a ribbon. That is it from our daily quiz segment for today. If you like this initiative, press the like button, let us know in the comment section, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. All the best. Have a great day ahead.